Matthew and Luke were plagiarists, incorporating into their Gospels huge chunks of Mark's earlier text. Matthew made fewer changes. Matthew seems to view Mark as reporting historical events, so Matthew stays faithful to what he thinks literally happened. Matthew's changes usually resulted in briefer versions of what Mark wrote. Luke made many changes. Luke viewed Mark as a source for stories, and Luke was determined to write better stories. Matthew is faithful to Mark's account of Jesus being anointed in Bethany after the Jerusalem entry. Here's Mark's account. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of Simon the Leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Matthew's version below is nearly identical, which may or may not be to Matthew's credit. It depends on how one views plagiarism. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, at the home of Simon the Leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster vial of very costly perfume, and she poured it on his head as he reclined at the table. Luke changes the story. The anointing takes place much earlier in Nain, in the home of a Pharisee instead of a leper named Simon. The woman, being a sinner, is stressed, though that is not mentioned by Mark or Matthew. Feet are anointed, not the head. Now one of the Pharisees was requesting him to dine with him, and he entered the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. And there was a woman in the city who was a sinner, and when she learned that he was reclining at the table in the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster vial of perfume, and standing behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears, and kept wiping them with the hair of her head, and kissing his feet, and anointing them with the perfume.